Hi, this is TapCat, and welcome back to my quest to build the ultimate theme park. It's TapCatLand. Now, I've gone ahead and opened up the rides in our new tropical pirate area. And as you can see, the very first people are starting to go in as a result. That also triggered my park rating. Let's see. We needed 1,400 and we got 1,514 on the ride, so we crushed it. I think I'm just going to get rid of those two challenges because I'm not even positive I'm going to build another coaster. So we've done a lot of installments lately where we did time lapse and I kind of showed you the building process. And I guess I just want to have one slow paced. Sorry, I won't talk that way the whole time. But one installment at least every now and then where we can just kind of look at what we've done and talk about, what it was like to build it and what I'm happy with and less happy with. Actually, parts of this cave I ended up being really happy with. I'm quite happy with that waterfall and the little blue pool next to it. If there's anything I'm unhappy with, it's just probably that it's so subtle, it's easy to kind of miss it. Also really like the colored pools. And if you listen to that kind of dripping noise, hear that kind of background noise? So that is the result of speakers that I've put underneath the bridge. And I love that it adds just this very subtle cave feeling to the place. And as we come out through here, it'll transition to a seashore. You hear the surf? Let me see. I know I put some in here. See, there's one. So you just hear the surf and the seagulls. And, unlike the music, because you can put music speakers down too. And the rides, of course, have music. But that can get kind of tiresome. But I love the ones that they call ambiance speakers because it just gives the park that little bit of extra atmosphere. And for me, quite honestly, that's probably the biggest thing that I want. That's why I go out of my way to put little touches in and try to dream up weird stuff like these colored pools of water and stuff. I love stuff like that and all the lights in here. It's not because it'll raise the scenery score or whatever. It's because, when I'm looking at the park, I think it's a place I'd love to be, And so one of the things that I did in this area, I really invested some time in, was putting down these rope fence segments. And holy moly, did I spend a lot of time doing that. One of the lessons that I really learned is that when you have a plan, and this I did plan from the start to kind of ring the area in these, if you're going to do that, don't wait until the end like I did after you've placed all the buildings and stuff. Because what happens is, these don't have any flexibility in them. You can't stretch them or make them more narrow or anything. So you can kind of get to a spot where you have a walkway, and let's say the left edge of that would hit right here. So you either have this big old nasty gap where park guests could just go right into the water, or you're going to have it jutting out into the middle of the path, and that looks really stupid. So after I had placed all of these things and built up, some of the surrounding scenery to give them more atmosphere and kind of root them in this area better, I ended up having to go through and redo a lot of that just so that I could line up the fence. And so, again, it's not that I wish I hadn't done the fence because I'm really happy with it. But what you have to learn, I guess, is you know, customize a park. Holy moly, look at all these people. Is that it's kind of like when you're working on the inside of a house, you know, you don't want to put the carpet down and then have the guy come in to paint your ceiling. You really want to do that in the opposite direction. And if you don't know why, paint drips, let's just say that. So yeah, like professionals, people who do it a lot, they just learn things like that pretty quickly. So it looks like I may have the price set too low for this because very few people, no, some of them are turning away. But we're really getting mobbed. So what is my price? 26. I'm going to make it 29. I'm not going to go up to 40 like we have on the one Ghost Train, I think it's called, in the Old West. So yeah, let's talk more. So what other lessons did I learn out here? Well, one, it really worked well that I kind of built the shell for this stuff in another map. It let me have the clock running, or the, you know, the game running, and I didn't have to worry about what was happening in the bigger theme park. But the one thing is, especially if you're going to try to do something like this, where I had kind of the fishing village motif in mind, and I'm putting them over the water. You know, when I built them, well, maybe that's the answer. Maybe I should have created a little lake and built them over that. Because when I brought them in, I did have to put all this stuff around it. And that did take more time. But in general, I was really happy with it. I was really happy that I put lighting inside of each building and made it a part of the building so that nothing would have to be added in that way once I got here. You know, this area at night looks pretty good, I think, you know. And the buildings, they don't look exactly the same. I mean, you know, just because of the lighting, but they look nice. And they look nice from pretty much every angle. You know, there's lights set up in there for all of it. By the way, too, this is something I kind of copied from something I imported from the Steam Workshop for the sci-fi area. It had 3 balloons in it, and I thought it was a nice little display. And I used that same idea to do balloons of all 5 colors from the sign. And I really love that. I just think it adds so much. And now, why did these guys leave without buying? They didn't have enough money. Well, okay, fair enough. There are ATMs. Now, by the way, one thing that I kind of learned, but I kind of already knew. This is the first land where I built it all and then opened, right? And so that's kind of scary, because I will say that's really not the best way to do it. And I see, I've watched some videos on other channels. They do that all the time. Like, they're basically, wow, this line has really gotten out of control. They're kind of building theme parks as an art exhibit, for lack of a better term. They're gorgeous, better than anything I'll ever make to look at. But they don't really seem to ever bring people into them, as far as I can see. Or if they do, it's just very brief. It's almost an afterthought. But I want this to be a functioning theme park that can take, you know, handle crowds and handle them well. And so that's one of the things that I was going to say. So building all of this, what happened the very first time I tried opening it up off camera, just to see, like, okay, well, what happens when I unpause with the rides turned on? Wait, is this ride not open? Because it doesn't seem like anybody's going on. No, it wasn't. Okay, my bad. What happened is that these paths, like this one in particular, was just choked. Because some people get up here and they don't have enough money to go on it, or the line is too long or something, so they want to turn around and come back. and there were so many people trying to come up the path to get to it. The two groups were essentially colliding with each other and kind of forcing everything to come to a stop. And I really was not digging that too much because it was creating a massive traffic jam. So I tore up all of these paths, or deleted them, and rebuilt. You can see how wide it is now. And then I was able to remake the queue entrance so it's as wide as possible where it meets the path. So I haven't seen yet. This will be my first experience because I don't really know how I would make this any better in that way. But this will be my first time seeing if that was enough or if this will just bog down again. This area also bogged down, but it wasn't as bad. And my main response to that is I redid this path as wide as I could make it and then brought the queue all the way out here so that people wouldn't be turning around in the narrow path. And so far, it's working. So that gives me hope that on the other side, it'll work too. But yeah, so I don't know if that's learning a lesson or if it's relearning something I already knew, but I don't like building it all and then kind of switching it on for everybody. I definitely feel like it helps you get the aesthetics right, but it hinders you as far as building it to handle that flow of the crowds. You know, like when you just turn it on and you don't have that much stuff in here yet, I think that really helps you a lot because it slowly increases, and you get that feel for, oh, you know, I need to adjust this and I need to adjust that. Whereas, like, look at how crazy it is in here already. Like, so many people coming in. And, you know, I don't think at least that I straight up forgot anything major, you know, like I have restrooms and ATMs and a variety of restaurants and drinks and stuff. By the way, I don't need it to be nighttime anymore. I just meant to do that for a second. But yeah, so hopefully it will work. Let's see, how are we doing over here? I guess the first, you know, of the wave is kind of reaching this, so we won't know for a little bit yet. Another lesson I learned, and this was really like the first area of the park where I built almost everything from scratch. I did import the 2 dark rides from the Steam Workshop. Oh, I also imported ride skins for the, the pre-built rides that come with the game, like Victory here. Although even this I customized because the ride skin just came with this stuff that surrounds the ride and just this one castle piece. But what I did is I took this castle and I duplicated it a couple of times so that it would feel more, you know, ensconced in it, more immersed in it. And I do like that effect. So, okay, I think now we're starting to see a little bit of the churn that I was getting before, but at least so far, it's not really blocking the path. You can still do what you want to do. So that's good. But what I was going to say is I definitely think that one of the things I learned is that when you want to do something like I manually placed all of these plants on the slope on both sides, and I love how it came out. I think it's really nice. I also built the waterfall over there and this waterfall over here. And this waterfall in particular, I'm really happy with. I just think it came out pretty much exactly how I wanted it to. So listen, somebody else might conceive of a better waterfall and execute it. But for what I was trying to do, this is just pretty much exactly that, and I'm very happy with it. And if you're wondering why I didn't decorate over here, it's because the pedestrian path ends here. You literally can't even see the waterfall. I may extend the path a little bit at some point so that, in theory, the park guests can. But mostly that waterfall existed to satisfy my need to have an explanation for this little thing going beside the path, which was probably silly. But anyway, I guess what I was trying to say, and I keep interrupting myself and getting off track, is that as much as I like it, I did spend a lot of hours placing these, and it gets very tedious. And the same was true with the rope fences, and it wasn't as bad, but the same was true with the torches and stuff. And you know what it reminded me of is the feeling you get if you've ever played a game like an MMO or something else where grinding is a thing, and grinding can help you, do better in the game. If you overdo that, oh my goodness, I did not notice this somehow, some way. When I redid the paths, this got fouled up. Wow, that's bad. Oh, that is so bad. Okay. Oh, wait. That's kind of terrible, but for the moment, I'm going to leave it like that because it gets rid of this hole. I'll come back and fix it later off camera, but I want our guests to be able to go that way if they want to. And now it looks like they can. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of ended up feeling like I did more grinding than I should. And it was really hurting my desire to even play and do more stuff. So what I need to do next time, there's no one of these that I'm sorry I did, but I need to pick my spots. Like I can't have an area where almost everything I do takes this much time. What I need to do is find ways to do things that I'm really happy with, the way I am with this, but that don't take up nearly as much. So for example, I don't know that I'd say I'm as happy, but these little planters that I made, I spent, really very little time on. And once I had the first one, I was able to copy it across. And so, I did these 3 very quickly. And then all I did is I took the middle one and I just flipped it around so that they wouldn't all be arranged in exactly the same way. So see, like the purple plant is here, but it's red on the left here. And nothing difficult to do to change that, but, it just gave a little bit of variety. And I also was really happy laying down these pieces here. I believe this was from the roof building set. And I thought it would be pretty appropriate for the tropical theme. And that was really quick too. So laying out some stuff like this, it's not like I would want this to be my big centerpiece, for the area and say, oh, if this is the most beautiful thing in the park, I'm happy. No, but I think what it does do with relatively little effort, it added some real pop to what would have otherwise just been a barren stretch of grass like this between the rides. And then likewise, just to kind of help keep the sight line of a guest in line with where the rides are, I dropped in that house. And that's just one of the standard blueprints that comes with the game. And kind of positioned it so the path leads right to the door. And I'm very happy with that too. So again, without spending a lot of time, if you look at how I was building the park at the very beginning, back in part 1, where it was basically just, a raw path, and then, oh, here's a ride next to it, here's another ride next to it, kind of following that boring grid pattern. And that was all that was going on. This is way nicer. And part of what I'm trying to do in this series is not just build a nice theme park, but finding ways to help show you how to do the same thing, assuming that you're not completely crazy in the sense of wanting to spend, 50 hours in each themed area to build the perfect park. Because most of us, I think, don't have the time to do that, and don't have the, kind of combination of creativity and sheer fortitude to just keep working at it endlessly, because it is quite a labor intensive process when you go through and you're sculpting every little thing and customizing it all. But I will say, in general, I'm very happy with how it turned out. And I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break before I start on the fairy tale type area, the medieval fantasy themed area, to kind of give my batteries a chance to recharge. But now that we've created this area, and I at least, am happy with how it turned out, I would be curious to see what other people thought. Like, if you see something I could have done that you think would be really cool, I'd love to hear about it. But I'd love to top this, and see if I could find a way to top it without killing myself in terms of the time and labor. Now I'm just kind of marveling at this path, because this is a very broad path. And look at this. Look at this, man. That is craziness. Now, by the way, are people going in? I raised that price pretty high. Where's the actual gate? Did I go right past it? I must have. It's down here. Derp. So some people at least are going in. Not everybody. I'm okay with that, because there's a lot of people in line, and I think the line is probably pretty significant. Oh no, it's only 5 minutes according to that. That's okay. It's coming out most of the way. I'm not going to lower the price or anything. So, and this will probably slow down at some point. What's very disappointing is, even though I've got the Q rating up and all that, we are not seeing a lot of ridership for this, but we have at least got some. What's my prestige rating? 336. That's not horrible for one of these rides. What's this one sitting at? Because nobody is going on it. 192. Yeah. And the Q rating's already... Oh, you know what? I know what I need to do. I'll have to add more sequences. So that's kind of the key if you want to increase prestige. I did put in a brand new one, by the way. I didn't move the one we had in the Old West. It's still sitting here for the moment. And of course, people are going on this one, which is kind of funny. Oh, okay. You know what? This is what I need to do. Clockwise, 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 anti-clockwise, anti-clockwise, anti-clockwise. That's what I need to do. I need to mimic that, apparently. Because right now, like, man, I can't even catch flies the way this one is. This is just pitiful. It seems strange to me that that small a change would almost double your prestige. All right, so let me try to stay focused. Is there anything else I would change? Yeah, I think this wall was a pretty good idea, and I like that I put a bunch of palm trees in front of it. What I think I would do different next time is I wouldn't layer on the ivy to be a solid mass like this. I would have left the wood more visible and then just put a decent amount of ivy on it, assuming I could manage to do that so that it didn't look like I was doing a total pattern. I would want it to look more organic than that. So as long as I could do that, I would gladly change this up a little bit. And we'll see. You know, when I'm on this side, I'm going to do something over here. I don't know what yet. Let's talk about that a little bit. What is left to do in the park? I am, for the most part, if not completely done. I'm not going to come back into the tropical area and do any major work. I'm pretty happy with it. And areas where I thought, geez, you know, I wouldn't mind having something else here. If I had a good idea, I've already used it. And there's nothing that I wanted to do and I didn't do. Well, let me clarify. Like, I did want a kind of big skull that doubled as a waterfall or something. And I downloaded one from the Sting Workshop and stuff. But despite a number of attempts to find the right place for it, I never felt like I had the right place for it. So I didn't use it. But what I'm trying to say is, where I looked at an area and I thought, oh, I should do this, but then didn't want to spend the time or something like that. No, I pretty much used every good idea I had. And if I could make it work, then it's in here. And so I think I'm done with this area. And then what we're going to do is probably the next thing is we're going to come to the Old West and we're going to get rid of the, let's see, the whirligig thing, whirl-a-rig. I think I called it Captain TapCat's Wheel o' Death, right? Yeah. So we're going to delete that because I don't want a duplicate ride. And we're going to get rid of the teacup thing because I'm going to use that in the fairy tale area. At least I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'd like to get rid of this too because this just doesn't fit here. And then we're going to add 1 or 2 new rides and we'll put in ride skins and stuff. But beyond that, the other thing I want to do is shift it a little bit. See how these trees are just right up against the entry path. I can't do any kind of real entry this way. I was kind of short-sighted when I put these down. I didn't think about that. So what I need to do, whether I use trees or something else as the sightline barrier when you're in the Old West, I don't want it that close to the walkway. I want to pull them in this way. And so, unfortunately, while I don't intend to change like the stuff, like these buildings and things like that, like the nature of the decor, what I do want to do potentially is kind of shift a lot of it inward and take advantage of all this empty space we have out here. Not all of it, but some of it. And that way we can try to make something more special for the park entry. Because in terms of areas that we've done nothing with that need more work, the park entry absolutely is one. And the other one is out here. I intend to put in, as I said, kind of a fantasy, medieval, you know, that kind of stuff. The sci-fi area I might do a little bit with, like we might do some ride skins for some of these. I don't know. It looks like I may have gotten a little greedy on pricing for my brain jar. So yeah, hopefully that's a decent overview for you. And let me know again what you think. Actually, one habit I should get out of is saying like, oh, I'm happy with how this turned out. I actually would prefer to leave it to you to tell me how you think it turned out. But I will also say, oh my, how did this... Wait, I didn't put palm trees in here. What in the heck is this doing in here? Hold on a second. Oh, it's from this. Oh my goodness. Okay, you know what? I'll fix that off camera. That is the first time I realized. So when I slid that big old wall over, I moved these palm trees in here. And yeah, I just want to get rid of those. That's kind of hilarious, actually. I guess I'm not doing it off camera. But that's it, right? I don't see any. I guess there's one more where there's like one palm frond. Fine. All right. So anyway, that is my tropical area. I think my biggest concern, honestly, is whether these line situations settle down and the traffic settles down. Also, will people start going to these little rides? Because we're getting a few people, but very few are even walking over to them. And that tells me it's not the price or anything. You know, it has a lot more to do with just the fact that the prestige isn't high enough. Let me go ahead. Yeah, now that I've done that one, hopefully the prestige will come up now. All right, I'm going to leave it here for now. Thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.